Ready?
25 seconds.
This meeting is now live.
Tēnā koutou katoa, ko o tākoro, ko waho, ko pūhara kiki nui o mātou awa, ko iu tai ko wana, ko Waitai te hapori, ki ngā paenga o tātou e mahi, ko Paul McMahon tuku ingoa, ko au te manakura o tēnei wāhi, nō reira tēnā koutou katoa.
Kia ora.
Everybody, welcome to the Waitai Community Board. I'm the Chairperson, Paul McMahon. If you'd like to join us in our karakia. Kia mā kina ki uta, kia mā taratara ki tai, e inga ki ana te whakatura, e tino, e ruka, e haurunga, te hei mātua. Thank you, everyone. Now, do we have any apologies? No apologies. Any declarations of interest to make? Interest. Now moving to the confirmation of the previous minutes in this August. Is that moved by Jackie? Seconded by Greg. Okay, motion. Now we put all those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. All right, so now we move to our public forum. So a public forum is gives up to 5 minutes, including questions to community organisations, individuals to come and share with us. So for the first one, we have the Eco Action Nursery Trust, who we always look forward to hearing from. So if you'd like to come to the end of the table, we'll hear from you now.
Kia ora, ko Abby toku ingoa, ko Rangiruru te kura, and we are the Eco Action Nursery Trust. Thank you, Christchurch City Council, for helping us so that we can help support our community.
Kia ora, I'm Tinara. So Eco Action has students from up to 26 schools, 2 community groups, and 3 retirement villages pot on and then plant eco-source native trees into the red zone. In 2024, the Trust organised 24k natives to be planted by students and their families and donated 40k more to other plants.
Kia ora, I'm Eliza. I'm from Rangiruru Girls School. Eco Action arranges land to plant on from the CCC parks at QE2 and Atlantis Street. And students in the community collaborate to plant and maintain the site.
Kia ora, ko Matthew Whanaha. Eco Action Nursery Trust has a very successful history planting at the QE2 Adventure Nature Trail. We have had great successes with Ribbonwood, which have already made it to 3.5 metres tall in our relatively short lifespan. Caprosma, which are currently fruiting, flax, which are flowering, and bird habitats, which are returning, bringing native birds back to the city.
Hello, my name's Louise. I'm from St Margaret's, and last year Eco Action planted 30,000 native trees. This year we planted 60,000, and next year we're going to plant 60,000 more native trees.
Kia ora, I'm Willoughby from Chile Boys High School. Currently we have 26 schools participating, which can be listed, and we have many sponsors, including Fulton Hogan, New Brighton Volunteer Fire Brigade, and EnviroWaste.
Kia ora, I'm Anna, and I'm from St Margaret's. The Eco Action program provides lots of benefits for our youth community, including allowing them to gain practical horticultural skills and building community involvement and participation, and also building a sense of place by improving amenity and wildlife habitat.
Kia ora, I'm Oliver. Not only that, but we also improve our quality of life in Christchurch Whakatahi. We tackle the climate change emergency through plants sequestering greenhouse gases. We also improve personal mental health by improving well-being.
And so my name is David Newton, and with Eco Action Nursery Trust, along with Kate Rivers here today, and I'd like to invite you guys to ask questions of the students, particularly about what they feel they get out of Eco Action Nursery Trust.
Does anyone have any questions for the students?
First, congratulations on the work that you do. I say this every time you guys come in. I love the fact that it's Eco Action and not Eco Talk. So good on you. So what I want to know is what you feel that you get out of
I feel that eco action makes me feel a bit more connected to the community.
It builds green spaces around Christchurch that everyone can enjoy.
True. I feel quite fulfilled as being part of it. It brings me that kind of happiness and joy to be part of this thing that will help us in future.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think it's really cool that you can connect with others and it's good for your well-being whilst also helping the environment.
It has a great cultural importance to the Māori community. I feel like values such as kaitiakitanga and guardianship of the land, which is really cool.
Good point.
I love that it makes me feel and that we actually are doing a physical difference to help mitigate climate change.
And for me, it's the personal fulfillment, but also kind of like you can say to your grandkids, like I did my bit, no matter what happens in the future, right?
I think it's a really cool way to mitigate climate anxiety, especially in our generation, with something meaningful and positive.
Good answers.
I think the way they're growing, probably your kids will be quite proud of what you've grown.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah, yep. Got one more.
Just one question. So when you finish school, do you think you'll carry on doing this kind of thing?
I mean, I'd love to continue being involved for sure.
100%, right? No matter where I go, I reckon I'll definitely be doing some sort of involvement.
Same with me, I'll soon be doing the plantings that they have throughout the year for the community. And yeah, it'll be very cool.
The Sunday tree plantings from usually from 10 to 12 are always really easy to get involved with, and people there are so kind of friendly, so always come back.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'll definitely carry on, especially just lots of little things we can do to help out.
I think it depends where I am at the after school. I've got many years to go, but I think being part of something great for yourself is quite a cool thing to be part of.
Yeah, I love the sense of community it fosters and like the spaces you can be involved in. So for sure, wherever I go, I'll be involved.
I feel like I would find another kind of group like the one Shirley Boys in the university that I end up going to.
And you, Dave?
I need to leave. We've now got 3 retirement homes organised. So
There's hope for you, Tim. All right. No, thank you very much for coming in and just with us. We always look forward to it and just for all your work.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll leave now. We'll get back to
Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
Sports break.
Next
Good man.
is pardon? Go for it. So let's just leave in order to bribe some.
As long as you're coming.
I think that's true.
It's not during the regulated period. Next we will, is anyone from Lions Rugby League here? No. Okay, in that case, we have Daniel Thomas, local resident from Palmer's Road. No, Dan?
Okay.
Are we?
Good.
Right, good. Well, yeah, up to 5 minutes.
Yeah, mate.
Questions?
That's the one. Yep.
What's yours?
I'm here to talk about the speed limits around town and especially on Palmer's Road. So my wife and I and my 3 kids live on Palmer's Road, and we're quite concerned of how fast people go along that street. If you know the street, you'll know what I'm talking about. So they done a test in 2018. The average speed was 50.4 kilometres per hour. That was 6 years ago, and I don't know where they set up the test for that. There's quite a dangerous bend where we live. There are 2 speed bumps on the other side of the bend, which don't really reduce the speed because they've maybe lost their height or just not high enough to reduce speed. Friday and Saturday nights, you can hear cars flying up and down the street. And our 3-year-old and 1-year-old son are in the bedroom, which would be directly affected if there was a car crash. I've referenced some events previously. So on the left there, there was a retirement village here, the car was coming up here and crashed into that house there. That's in Auckland, some bend here, coming around the corner and straight into that house. reference the lines there. So here's Palmer's Road here. Our house is here. You can imagine what would happen. So we went to the council and they responded in saying, because there's been no major incidents, they can't do anything. I'd love a speed bump put in on this side here. There's one just down here somewhere, but one up here would be ideal. Signs probably won't do anything, and I've even thought about putting concrete blocks in front of the fence. So, yeah, that's the end of that.
Alex has a question.
Yes, this is a process one. So is this something we can recommend or ask staff to look into and provide a report?
Well, first, so because this is a public forum, not deputation, so first we refer it to staff and then they come back to us. So, but the thing is, when we get the response, that means that we can, if we are not happy with the response, we can make a specific request. But grateful that you have brought this to us. Did you get any feedback as to why it was like they had speed bumps on one side of the bend and why they didn't think?
Oh no, I haven't gone into that, to be honest. I didn't think about it, but yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah, I mean it's up to you to have thought about this. It's council's broadly speaking job, but
they're probably 10 years old maybe.
The speed bump
I don't
is
know.
close to the lane.
There's
So there's a walk that comes through to cross the road, so they would
yeah,
have
so
been
down, sorry, carry on.
Yes, okay.
Sorry. So down, probably I've cut it off, but there's Bow Hill Road there, going that way. There's a speed bump on the south side of that. And yeah, there's the tennis courts just here, so maybe that's part of that. I'm not sure, but
well, that gives me some context. So yeah, well, I mean, I don't think there's going to be any issue with us asking. Nobody's going to disagree with asking for more information, and so our staff will keep in touch with you and let you know when something's coming back to the board.
Perfect. Do you guys know Palmer's Road?
Yep.
Do those speed bumps slow you down, or?
We are talking about what?
No, the ones that are already there. So the two coming off New Brighton Road.
Yeah, we'll try and get those ones looked at as well.
Yeah, that's, to be honest, they don't affect. Not being selfish, but they don't affect us going that way. It's more this way.
And it's my understanding they're not too high either, are they?
No.
So people tend to just go over.
Yeah.
Well, we can so we can get more information about that. But
awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
So that ends the public forum. So now we have a deputation appointment of Spencerville Residents Association. So we've got Jono and Craig here.
Good afternoon, everybody.
The deputation that gives you up to 10 minutes, including questions.
Thank you. It's still on. Good. Greetings all. This is my first time ever addressing award council in any shape or form. So excuse me if I'm a little bit nervous. Kena tēnā koutou katoa. Thank you for being here today and for the opportunity to address the community board meeting. I'm Jonathan Manning. I'm a Spencerville resident and a member of the Spencerville Residents Association. I'm on the committee. I'm accompanied today by Craig Pawsey, who is also a Spencerville resident and the president of the Spencerville Residents Association, commonly nicknamed Two Vote Craig. This is the first time I've ever addressed a council meeting. We're here today to give a brief presentation around the potential gate across Haders Road in Spencerville. Who's visited Spencer Beach? Okay, so pretty much all of you. That's great, thank you. I'll assume today that not everybody here has had the opportunity to read and absorb my earlier email. Craig has lived in Spencerville for many years, and my partner and I have lived there for nearly 5 years. In life, we tend to treasure and respect those things that we love and know about, and we want to care and protect those. things that we have a deep understanding of, kaitiaki guardianship. The Brooklands Lagoon and Sandspit are natural treasures, are a jewel in the City Council crown of natural locations, easily accessible to the public of Christchurch. The ecology of the lagoon and Sandspit area are of national significance, being a tidal salt marsh estuary that is also fed by the Waimakariri River. Since moving to Spencerville and living 10 minutes from the Brooklands Lagoon, I've come to appreciate its significance within the Christchurch region, not only for the interesting plants and aquatic life, but also for the 30 to 35 migratory birds that live there and nest and breed there. Amongst them, the bar-tailed godwit, white-faced heron, and spoonbills. When I first arrived in the area, I looked online to see that the council had produced a long-term plan for the preservation and enhancement of the lagoon and Sandspit area. But of course, this took a firm back seat. That was in 2010. But of course, this took a firm back seat after the 2011 quake, as the council obviously had other priorities. I was delighted to note that in the last year or so, plans have started to be realised with new plantings, boardwalks, signage and the like to bring the lagoon area and Sandspit up to its full potential. However, with Spencer Beach being so close to the city, there has been a steady stream of people who would like to visit the area after dark and do not have a great deal of respect for the uniqueness of the environment. The city's residents are entitled to access the area, of course, but I wonder if restricting access to vehicle access to daytime only would help discourage those who prefer not to respect the environment. In my gathering for this information for this proposal, I remembered that there is a gate out at Wood End Beach, set back 500 metres from the beach, which I'll cover in the proposal. Let me go through that briefly now. And I've sent you all, or sent Cindy, a plethora of photographs and a couple of maps, etc., etc. So thank you for looking over those if you have.
We've got them here. We're looking now.
Yeah, great. Okay, cool. I won't refer to those directly. There's just too many. But if they come up in questions or anything, then that's fine. Reasons for wanting a locked gate across Hayters Road. We're an isolated community where police are often slow to respond. In recent years, there's been an increase in vehicles and their occupants accessing Spencer Beach during the wee small hours. Lighting of driftwood fires on the beach close to the dune vegetation, therefore threatening larger dune fires. Hooning donuts in the beach car park and along parts of Hayters Road, as well as the loop track from Boy Races. Quad bike damage to dunes all along the Brooklands Sandspit. And Robbie could testify, Guillaume could testify to some recent activities there. Damage of infrastructure in the car park, bollards, recovering sand dunes, steel gates, fencing, overnight camping, breaking into other vehicles, which leaves a lot of glass around the car park, drug deals and drunkenness. The benefits of a locked gate across Hayters Road during the hours of darkness. A gate would reduce the number of police call-outs, or the need for them, deter behaviour as described above, protect council infrastructure, reduce fire risk, reduce damage to fragile and unique ecosystems along the lagoon and Sandspit. Where would this gate be positioned? Immediately east of the entrances to Adrenaline Forest and Spencer Beach Holiday Park and Spencer Beach Picnic Area, which is again about 500 metres back from the beach. There is street light and power access about 20 metres away from where I would envisage perhaps a gate could be positioned. Could this be part of the Adrenaline Forest upgrade? Locked during the hours of darkness, different hours during summer and winter, signage, etc. would need to be positioned. Similar gate system as at Wood End Beach. This will leave the area undisturbed and in great condition. Other thoughts and considerations. Spencerville Residents Association see no environmental or sustainability downsides to this proposal. Council Park Rangers are supportive of the idea. They also noted that there used to be a gate across the Hayters Road in the 1980s. Where would funding come from? That's obviously a question. Beach users could still access the beach by walking or cycling via a pedestrian gate during hours of when the road gate is locked. Consideration would need to be given as to how to manage the whitebait season, 1st of September through 30th of October, and also those who hire current gate key for $35 per annum. A gate being added would also require a status change to road stop status. And it's something that would need to be seriously considered. Putting a gate across Hayes Road would also negate the need for gates on the loop track as well. There are some other stakeholders' feedback which I have from the Spencerville Beach Surf Lifesaving Association, but if we put a gate across Hayes Road, then their objections would be largely taken care of. There'd be one gate to lock instead of the two around the loop road that need to be locked in the hours of darkness, particularly in winter. I'll let you read the Brooklands Volunteer Fire Department feedback. And obviously all stakeholders who use the area regularly would need to have key access, including emergency services. I did forward an email this afternoon with a letter requesting a report to be produced by council. I didn't include that originally. I apologise for that. And that also has some details there about, the key to all the photographs, etc., etc. I'd like to request that the council produce a report into this matter. And if we were to put a gate across the road, that would help with the preservation and natural development of the area for decades to come and be faithful to the August 2010 Parks Master Plan of 146 pages. Thank you to Alex Hewison for his help with this. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Speaking of Alex Hewison.
Yeah, one thing that I've got to ask when you're doing site visits at the gate is whether or not you think the time that the gate's locked could be sort of changed to reflect the surf club's concerns, or do you think that would sort of defeat the point of the gate if it's too late?
Yes, that is something that would need to be considered. I think on nights when the surf club is used, which isn't a lot in the winter, you would just leave that open, and you would have to allow people in and out. And then the last person out from the surf club could lock that gate, which is under a street light, and much safer than going around the loop and locking those two gates, which are in total darkness for the person locking the gate. I mean, it's a case of everyone having some sort of a small degree of a trade-off. There's no perfect solution, but if everyone's prepared to give a little bit, we might be able to protect the environment, etc., a lot better for future generations.
Where's the next closest gate that the council would lock? Is it Spencer Park?
The council locks the gate that gives access to the dune at the end of the car park, right close to the beach.
So it's no extra. So it wouldn't be much extra time to lock that one.
No. Yeah, you've got to go in there. That is actually supposed to be locked all the time. And anyone who has key access to the one right close to the beach, you go over the dunes, has purchased a key and has permission to use that one there. But that would be the only one, the proposed gate. You'd take out the two loop gates that go round through the forest.
Okay, right. Well, we've come to the end of the 10 minutes, but I think that comes to covers all the issues. Yep. So we have a recommendation from staff that says we will receive a report, and then we request staff investigate the gate proposal on behalf of Spencerville Residents Association for Hayes Road and report back options to the community board. How's that sound?
Okay, that sounds fine. Yes.
Right then.
How long would that take?
Okay. Yeah. Realistically, how long is better stream?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. We will, but once we know when it's going to come back to the board, we'll tell you.
Sure.
Yeah, and so that you can come back and do an opportunity to speak to that.
Yeah, great. Thank you all for your time today. Appreciate it very much.
Pleasure.
Thanks for your
Very sensible.
Yeah, thanks very much. Sensible and comprehensive.
I don't really want to drop names, but Councillor Phil said common sense. Oh, sorry, Mayor Phil. Mayor Phil. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Right. We can move straight now into item number 7, which is the staff recommendation on this as correspondence. Would someone like to move that?
I do.
Yes.
Cool. So moved by Tim and seconded by Joe. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. All right, now we have item number 8, which is a briefing from Robert Hewson, Ranger Coastal and Plains Regional Parks about New Brighton Pier activities.
It's Ranger.
All right, so you'll know Rangers, isn't it?
No, no. So this is Hayley. I thought I'd bring Hayley along. If you haven't met Hayley, which she won't have because she tells me this is her first board meeting, so it's a big deal. But Hayley does all sorts of awesome work for us. She's in our parks visitor experience team.
Yep.
And so I just thought it was really good if she listens in on this because she can hear it direct. And Hayley and I work together a lot on things like signage and interpretation stuff, and I just thought it was really relevant. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, but hi everyone, if you haven't met me, I'm Robbie, Head Ranger for the coastal area, and I think we're here to talk about the pier. This was actually requested by you guys, so I don't have a whole lot to go off because the kind of background to this is that I guess there's been a lot of public concern in relation to the pier, which is pretty widely known in terms of social behaviour. Today's session, I think, needs to be focused on that rather than the maintenance side of things. We're working with a lot of the members of the community and our in-house staff around some sort of maintenance aspects. There's a lot of work to do down there, and we will come and talk about that in another session. But today, if we can kind of focus on that sort of stuff, that'd be awesome.
Yep, yeah, sure. That's the idea, to focus on the behaviour and management and mitigation.
Yep. Cool. So I'm assuming I sent out some notes sort of to give a bit of background. Has everyone kind of had a chance to have a bit of a skim through that and it all makes sense? Cool. So obviously the key issues being, I guess top of the list is around fishing. Public have a lot of concern with the mess made and the staining and the guts and all of that sort of stuff left on the pier. That's been going on since the pier was built. I guess the second thing is there's a no fishing zone that came into play. I'm actually not sure when it came into play. That was a board-driven thing around having a no fishing zone on the pier, and that's there now. One of the issues there is, we have a whole heap of people that go down there and they fish in that zone all the time, and that's of concern to the public. The background to that is, in terms of enforcement, the pier sits out of our jurisdiction. Essentially, it's in a coastal marine area, and we don't have a whole lot of tools. So it's a recommendation. But there are some avenues we can go down if people are, really in breach of things down there. But like trespass, I don't think having a fishing rod and a painted line is necessarily a good cause for trespassing someone. So look, that's kind of it, guys. Hayley and I have been working together on some ideas around how we might improve the use down there through signage. A note to that is people always look to signage to solve the problems of the world. So we won't be able to do that, but we may be able to help it through some refreshed kind of ideas. So I'm keen to take any questions or hear your guys' feedback because I think this is, one of those ones we actually would love to know more from the community about what it is they want to see down at the pier and how they want to see it managed.
Right, Joe and then Celeste.
Yeah, thanks, Robbie. How can we actually help make it better? Like, can we work on getting more enforcement somehow, or because it's not in your jurisdiction, it's in someone else's? Can we improve that? Or?
No, you won't. No, there's not a lot we can do there. In terms of look, there are things we can do. It's not a case of there being nothing we can do. It's if say for fishing, for example, there's the Litter Act we can apply, but it requires catching people in the act of making a mess of the place. So it's just really complicated. We're not, obviously my team aren't down there all day, every day. We call in a couple of times a week and check on the place. We have the guards that are stationed down there at the weekend, and they kind of monitor it and they do reports and feedback on what's going on down there. They can go up to members of the public who are fishing in the no fishing zone and they can ask them to not do that. I've been reading the reports recently. Generally, people kind of comply. Occasionally get someone who doesn't. I don't think that's the issue, Joe. I don't think that's going to fix the problem. I think the problem, in my view, is around there might be some more creative ways to look at the layout and design of the place down there.
That's the next thing I was going to say. So looking at options that would actually deter people from fishing in a no fishing zone. Maybe lifting the handrail up a wee bit or putting a bit of extra stuff in the way so they can't cast.
Yeah,
Can't drop the line over, or you know, there's things that you can do, and like signage, as you say, doesn't help the problem because at the moment there's a big no fishing zone on the pier, and it's quite bright, and everyone should be able to read that.
There is, yeah. I think it's actually the other way around. So the no fishing zone that's highlighted, the no fishing zone is everywhere. Is the
it's on the ground.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. It's the ground markings, isn't it? And there's two big handrails. I think from what I've seen, and being down there when I'm not in uniform with my boy fishing, I've actually observed conflicts happening just through the zone itself. I think the fact that a no fishing zone exists is cause for conflict between members of the public. And I've seen people, get into some pretty strong arguments about people fishing in there, but when perhaps it wasn't necessarily the biggest problem in the world in the first place. I mean, something I'd like to think about is a zone even required? Is there, I mean, I totally agree that we need to be able to set aside some space for people to go down there, and if they don't want to fish, they should be able to experience the pier, as it is. I think that's a great idea.
Because the pier is like a real tourist attraction.
Totally.
And it's on the TV all the time.
Yeah.
It's in New Zealand advertising, and it's something people will actually come to Christchurch and say they want to go and have a look at the pier.
100%. Yeah.
And they want to walk down to the end of the pier, and to have it nice and presentable and clean, and no aggression from fishermen, because some of them do get quite aggressive. It would be, just giving them the opportunity to have the photo at the end of the pier and somewhere to stand.
Yeah, I think, if we want to stick with the no fishing zone, Hayley and I have sort of been talking, there's possibly some ways of making it look more user-friendly. I think from a visitor experience point of view, it's pretty ugly looking right now. It looks like a loading bay in a factory. It doesn't look like a nice place to visit. And in fact, if I go down there as someone wanting to take in the views, I'd rather view it from the side rather than go into the area where there's bars and yellow lines, I think the feel of the place needs a bit of a rethink. I don't know what the answer to that is.
I agree. It does make it look like it must be some danger or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right.
Appealing. We had a question from Alex and then Kelly.
Celeste.
Oh, sorry, Celeste and then Kelly. Sorry. And then Greg.
Actually, it was just interesting to get your feedback because I haven't been fishing there, so I don't know what that experience is like. But when my brother came to visit from overseas, he took his son down there almost every day. Anyway,
I think I want those words known.
But I think the important thing is kind of understanding what the experience is like for all different users. So,
Totally.
It's not really a question, I guess, but I'd be interested to see what you guys come back with in terms of like the visitor experience, and that's both all parties using the space. So I agree that it's a little bit, what's the word? It's a bit utilitarian at the moment, but so it could do with a bit of a refresh. Another quick comment is, in terms of the signage, can we do anything a bit more interactive, like QR codes where you can be linked to more information? Because I feel like some of our signage is a bit old school. Yeah, we can definitely do that. Yeah, and working maybe with Smart City STEM a bit around that.
And so in regards to anything more interpretive stuff? Or?
Yeah, because I just happened to meet them today and we're talking about signage and some of the opportunities around the coastal area. And people sometimes don't bother to read the signage if it doesn't catch their attention.
Yep.
So whether we can sort of be a bit more innovative in our thinking.
Yeah, definitely.
So
yeah,
that could be an opportunity to.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the thinking as well, even with regard. I mean, I guess there's two sort of aspects to signage. There's the more interpretive side of signage that everyone loves. They love to learn about a landscape and hear more about the environment. The other side is you've got to have that sort of regulatory stuff with the rules and the do's and don'ts. But even with some of that sort of stuff, Hayley and I have been sort of, I guess, in early stages of wondering whether we can make some of that messaging more friendly and obvious than what it has been. An example at the moment. So we have we've got some signage out there now, some refreshed looking stuff. And that was around the use of cable ties. A recent problem has been with the crab potters down there. They all were using cable ties to tie their big chunks of bait to their nets. And then so you'd go down there and there's cable ties everywhere, which of course wash off down into the sea.
Unless she's bait collar.
Yeah, exactly. But they do. So they were using cable ties. So we've sort of trialled some stuff there, which seems to have made a bit of a difference actually. And it's just purely just a graphic, but it's I guess friendlier colours rather than some hardcore sort of red with a cross through it sort of stuff. So there's aspects we could work on there. I can't stress enough though, we shouldn't rely on signage to solve the problems, and it won't.
About 30% of people read signs.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you. Yeah, no, helpful to just hear what you guys are thinking. And I'd be keen to maybe see if you can link in with Smart Cities team to see if there's any opportunities there.
Okay,
So
cool. Yep.
All right. Thanks, Celeste. Kelly, and then Greg.
Yeah, what governs the rules, Robbie, around usage at the pier? I mean, is there a bylaw?
No, it's not a bylaw. No. Well, there is a marine facilities bylaw. The pier isn't covered by that because of how long it is. It goes right out to the coastal marine area, so it sort of falls outside of the scope of that bylaw.
Yeah, is it worth considering fishing free days where
there are, so there's a fishing free, so Sundays no fishing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And how strongly is that adhered to?
It's not too bad. Yeah, you still get the occasional, and that's why we have a guard stationed on there on that day. And it works. It works. People still go down there. That was a thing that came in many years ago, and
How successful would you say it was? Like 95%?
Yeah, I don't know, unless people have seen otherwise. I mean, people still go down there and have a crack at it. If they decide to ignore the guard and carry on, there's not a heck of a lot we can do. But I suppose for the most part, it reduces the number of fishermen on a certain day.
Do you feel that the maintenance schedule for, say, the bulb down the end of the pier is good enough? I mean, is it?
Yeah, so just touching on that, we reviewed the whole cleaning for the pier about a year ago, where previously it was fairly average. But we've brought in like a high pressure wash system, so they do a Monday and a Friday.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and those guys if you get down there at 6 a.m. on a Monday morning, the pier looks spotless, or a Friday morning. I've seen it within half an hour. And it's the sort of thing where we could chase it all day long.
Yeah.
But it's, if fish are running, like
it's a working pier.
We're coming into spring. Yeah, most people see it as a jetty or a wharf, It's covered in blood and guts by the end of the day at this time of year because kahawai are running or barracuda are running. It's actually an amazing place to fish. It's the only place in Christchurch you can really go locally that people have access to go and, especially kids, to go and catch fish. Yeah, so that aspect of the pier, while it's sort of been villainised, is actually a pretty neat part to it as well.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to keep that in context. It's just how we make sure we manage it for visitors and other people that don't want to experience that, obviously.
Thanks.
That's the challenge.
Alex and then Greg.
Yeah, back to your point about sort of positive messaging rather than negative and the science and how does it work. Potentially food for thought and just potentially something to investigate. You sort of go around the world into other spots where they're quite coastal destinations. You've got a spot to take a photo. And I feel like if you've got, a place where people can go and take photos, there are quite a lot of people there. People would tend to stick away in terms of fishermen and they're going fishing. And you wouldn't need a big yellow sign. It would be anti-messaging. It would be more so like this is a photo space.
Yeah.
Something like that.
You could put one of those frames.
Yeah. I'm not sure how that would work with the
in the middle.
But something like that where it's sort of more positive reinforcement.
So I think we could
on another activity rather than a negative.
Totally, and I think that's what we're sort of talking about is that we could take that area that's there now, stick with that concept, but perhaps make it look more what you're talking about, rather than a loading bay.
Yeah.
A forklift loading bay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. Greg?
Totally sure I'll finish it was my idea too. No, I just have written down some sort of structure because obviously casting is going to be limited by things like that. And I think it's Oamaru has like a picture frame type setup where you can take your photo in front of it. But I think it would be something that needs to be more than just one frame, because obviously you take half a step and you're out of the way. So yeah, I think it's a great option. And the other thing with the QR code is potentially one thing my kids found really interesting when they travel places is find out the distance and how far it is. So if the QR code could be linked to say it's this far to South America and this far to North America or in certain cities, I think it'd be quite a cool thing that these have their phone, you can pick it up and turn it and see exactly what sort of distance you've got.
Yeah, I mean, the pier's got all sorts of neat opportunities for interpreting the landscape, and you can down there this afternoon you can see Kaikoura, you can see local landmarks as well. So like there's heaps of neat ideas we could probably channel. I think the priority first and foremost before we get too carried away, just based on public feedback, is to make sure we address the sort of the concerns and the management side of things. And that's, I think we need to, before we get too far into the interpretation, that's what we need to make sure we get right. I'll be honest, I don't know 100% how to do that. It sounds like no one really does. But yeah.
Joe?
Yeah, could we limit the hours even further to no fishing days?
Oh, jeez. I guess that's
If, we could do alternate days or like 2 days a week.
Yeah, and you're probably getting into like a public consultation category there, I suppose, is what do the community want to see? How do they want to see the pier managed?
It would be really good to reach out to the community and get their feedback, because, they're the ones that want to go and walk on it. And the other thing would be, have you thought about having like a kids only day where an adult takes a kid fishing on that day? And they're the only ones that can actually fish on that day, or make it quite a pleasant experience for the kid.
Yeah, I haven't, but look, I'm sure it would be doable. Yeah,
just an idea.
Yeah.
Jackie?
I'm just a little concerned. We're going, let's increase the no fishing time, but we've already got people fishing on the no fishing day.
Yeah.
I think if we extend the no fishing time, or say we're only allowed kids in fishing on that day, then you're going to get more non-compliance on the one day that we've already established.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think that like restricting it more could actually make the situation worse.
No, I agree. I mean, it makes my job harder that I'm already not doing all that well potentially, where because it's such a challenge. And then I think that is one of the concerns of the public in itself, the fact that as council we're probably seen as not enforcing it hard enough, and perhaps they want to see that more. I don't know.
So you said earlier that it's because it's a marine coastal environment. So that falls under ECAN's jurisdiction, is that correct?
No, from a navigational safety perspective, but no, not from anything we would want to see.
So what happens, so when you're on the pier and you go over the high tide mark, then whose jurisdiction is that?
Yeah, I think it's because it's below the low water springs or something like that will be the wording. But in terms of jurisdictions, it's the coast, it's no one's. So ECAN will have a lens on it from a navigational safety, but fisheries will have their bit. But in terms of us, it's our facility. So
it's being on the pier, I guess, is on.
Yeah, so we have a set of guidance rules in place that says that these are the terms of entry, and we can enforce it through certain ways, but we need to be able to catch the person in the act of doing it. So if you're talking about leaving staining and blood and guts and all of that sort of stuff on the pier, well, half the time they've gone. So, it's from an enforcement point of view, it's really challenging.
Yeah, I do. Before we finish up, I do think there are many places in New Zealand where there are lots of places to go fishing, relatively speaking, because of the nature of the coastline. Whereas here, there's not that many. You can't. Even if you go and stand on the bar at low tide when it's right, you're still going to be lucky if you catch anything. And that's the thing. The pier gives people it's like in New Zealand, a way of life, gives people access to fish. So I would hate to see it restricted any further.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I'll probably leave you guys with one example that I had recently. Actually, it was last season. It was in school holidays, and we get customer service requests come through to us, and I had a complaint about a whole bunch of people fishing in the no fishing zone. So I went straight down there. I thought this would be great. I'll catch these guys in the act. And I went down there, and as it turns out, there was half a dozen young school kids, and they'd bike down there. It was school holidays, so they'd bike down with their fishing rods, and they were fishing in the no fishing zone because everyone else was fishing in the other area. And I didn't have the heart to kick them out of there because, like, you know, as a society, isn't this awesome? You know, young guys bike down there, and they're doing such a great thing out in the fresh air. So, yeah, I told them what the rules were, and I walked away because I actually thought it was really neat.
Clearly need another peer.
It's hugely popular, and those are the sort of things that we need to think about. I don't think we're ever going to get on top of it, but perhaps if you guys are happy with the idea, we'll continue to pursue some of these sort of user-friendly aspects and plug away at that kind of thing.
Yeah, so if you could just keep us in the loop, and when if you enact something new or there's something changes, just let us know. I had a question from Yanni. So last two questions. Question from Yanni and question from Tim.
Yeah, just picking up on Kelly's point, like, have we talked to the Lilton Port Company about making it, giving space for people to actually fish there again?
Oh, no, I've got no idea.
You used to be able to go down there and fish, and a lot of people did. But then they got, 9/11 happened, and it's nearly the anniversary, but then security got really tight.
On their private wharf.
In the port. So, I mean, just looking at other options, I just did wonder whether, there's been any discussion with council around some sort of strategy around fishing. I know the groins, I think people can fish at the groins sometimes.
No, if you have
events, but
totally different sort of aspect of fishing as well. I mean, I guess the pier serves this local community really well. It's super accessible. Littleton's a bit of a hike if you live in, Brighton or Burwood or somewhere around here. It's nowhere near as good for fishing. You probably catch nothing if you go to Littleton, to be fair.
Red cod if you're very lucky.
If you're really lucky, you can go out here and, I see why people use it. I know what you're getting at, but
Does council have any sort of fishing strategy or any sort of?
I'm not a policy person, but not that I know of, no.
Last one from Tim.
Dave East and Tim Center's got some hot pools down here. Where did the clip on?
The clip-on, yeah. Well, I think Tim was the reason there's a no fishing zone in the first place, and the rails, and I think that was a Tim thing. Look, I think that died. I'm not sure what. I have heard it. People have mentioned it to me before. The idea of the fishing platform is what you're talking about, eh? Yeah. I don't know. My gut feeling on that one is we've got some maintenance issues to sort out down there, which are going to come at a pretty significant cost. So that's probably going to be the answer initially, is that'll be the priority. But yeah.
Right. Well, thank you very much for coming in and briefing us, and we look forward to hearing back from you.
Yeah, all good.
Right.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Robbie, is that Coastal down this ATV?
I haven't seen him. I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay.
Yeah. Great. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Robbie. Can someone please move the staff recommendation, moved by Alex, seconded by, I think it was Kelly, I think it might be All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against. Carried. Thank you. So now we move on to staff reports. New Brighton Rugby Football Club.
I'll have to move that one.
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Seconded. Okay, no discussion.
No.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against. Carried. Right. Thank you.
Felix.
Yeah. Thanks.
Have a nap, go home.
Sorry to keep you.
Makes too much sense.
And now we have the area report. Chris, did you have anything you wanted to draw our attention to? Take that as read, otherwise.
Happy to move it.
I see. Do we have any discussion of the board report, the area report? Yanni?
I think just on page 64. It talks about the WWTP health and wellbeing, and it talks about providing information in an upcoming newsletter for residents. Just wondering if that information has gone to the community reference group before it gets released, or if there's a chance for it to be discussed with the residents, the reference group.
So I can't answer it now, but I was in anticipation. I was just trying to find out if it had gone. So I think it's gone to the reference group. but we'll follow up after the meeting and
Okay.
that confirmation.
Cool. And also, do you know if it was going to be in the letterbox newsletter, or it's going to be just an electronic one?
As far as I know, at this stage, the plan was for an electronic one, just to the regular, once the larger one goes to the regular distribution list.
Can I volunteer to deliver hard copies? Like, is that possible? Because I do think given the impact on the health and wellbeing of the community that, yeah, I don't know when the last hard copy information flyer went through, but to me, it seems like it would be a good important thing to go as a hard copy. And I'm happy to help with that.
We'll follow up on that. One of the things I'll say is the last letterbox drop that we did as a local team, we made sure to include in there for people to sign up for updates, so that people who weren't normally on there.
Did you get much?
Taylor, did you have much feedback from the last letterbox drop with to
sign-ups
essentially? Do you know?
No.
We made sure that was in there so people knew to get in touch.
Yeah. Anything else, Yanni?
So also just wanted to check on the just the CSR ticket reports are good, but like again, I'm just finding the information is too high level to be meaningful. Are we able to get like for each of the are we able to look at geographically like the streets that are getting the complaints so that we know where things are happening?
So this was raised at the last meeting. I'm working with staff to bring an information session workshop to the board. I think that's scheduled for the beginning of October off the top of my head. Following that, then the report that we currently receive will be slightly different, because I think some explanation is needed before. And then following that, I'll have access to be able to drill down into specifics within this report, not necessarily did someone at this address log a ticket. Yeah, so we'll be able to drill down, but we just got to have that information session with staff before the format will change slightly, and then we'll be able to drill down more into it.
I guess if I looked at like wheelie bins, for example, it'd be interesting to know if there's a pattern of a certain area that's generating the complaints or the concerns. Like equally with water supply or roading, in terms of like our renewal programs. If people have been putting complaints in,
I think we all agree with you on that. We're just waiting for.
It's just timing.
Yeah. Kelly.
Yeah, my questions are just around the Darlington Residents Association requests around the Darlington landing. What is the next step for the Residents Association should they disagree with some of the recommendations?
So through you, Mr. Chair. So Phoebe, the chair of the Darlington Residents Association, she acknowledged the response with an open invitation to liaise directly with the manager of the red zone should she have any further queries, and she was more than happy with that response.
Great. Perfect. Thank you.
Any further questions regarding the area report?
Sorry, just one thing in regards to the LTP letter. Did we get any specific understanding of the next steps in the process for Lion Street? I'm just trying to update the local residents, and I've been finding it very hard to get anything sort of.
The same in terms of renewals, right? We are still waiting to know how we can input into that process, as far as I'm aware. So we haven't heard back anything more than you'll be given an opportunity to input into the process.
Yeah. Okay.
That's yeah. I don't know. I mean, when is the council getting a report about the transport projects? When's that coming?
I think they said something on the 17th, although like with Pages Road Bridge, there's obviously been a lot of stuff already on social media, in the newspaper, emails, comments being made by all sorts of people, but we don't seem to have any idea how much money we've got for what projects, although there is a list that we have been sent from NZTA around what's not getting funded and what's possibly getting funded.
So
but I don't think that includes renewals.
When it comes to all these transportation projects, community borders doesn't know any more than the council knows.
I just think like the staff must have some sense of a process by which they're going to use to engage around the revised transport plan. And you would hope that like,
you would.
My understanding is that they put in a budget amount quantum for types of funding to Waka Kotahi, and with the land transport plan being announced, they now know what the funding envelope will be. But that doesn't mean you have to have waited until that announcement to understand what the processes you'll be used to work out what's a priority or how people will have input. But I'm just thinking for the residents of Lion Street, you know, just to get a generic letter back about the LTP stuff and not really be given any sort of clear understanding about what's happening would be pretty disappointing.
I think the only extra thing that I can add is that the council or SAP, but then the council will have the submissions from all of the community boards. So when it comes to that, they know, you know, that feedback's been given on why. But as Paul said, we haven't been told any further what the process is going to be. So there's nothing else we can update them at the moment.
Okay.
If I,
I'll raise that at council. Again, I'm trying to find out, but yeah, all the letter says is the coming months, which is, you know.
Yeah, there are many months coming. Any other questions? Well,
yeah, I hope there.
Yeah, okay. I guess we could be surprised. Any further questions of the report? No. Would someone like to move that? Oh, sorry, it has been moved. Sorry, moved by Kelly, seconded by Alex. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. Right. There's information exchange. Just remember, we can't take any action from here. Well, we can only note it. Right. I think that was Joe first, and then Celeste.
Rightio, so I've got a couple of things to report on. I've attended the South Shore Residents Association meeting a few weeks ago, and actually got another one coming up where they asked staff to update them on the Estuary Edge project. So they're going to, staff have agreed to update them, so we should hear what's going on there. There's a North Beach residents meeting tonight, and Lila from Piki Kai is going to give them an update. That's at 7:30 if anyone else wanted to go along to it. I went to the New Brighton Residents Association meeting, and they've agreed to do the clean-up event, which is coming up on the 22nd of this month. And it's cleaning up the New Brighton area, meeting at 10 o'clock at the clock tower on the 22nd, and keep Christchurch Beautiful umbrella in there as part of the Keep New Zealand Beautiful Week. And I went to the Keep Christchurch Beautiful AGM yesterday. They've got their awards nominations open at the moment. So if you know anyone that deserves an award, a person or a group, they'd like to get some more nominations in. And you would have seen the South Shore Residents Association, along with Hayley from Abanatakaro, have just got the community gardens up and going in Estuary Road. So they've got the okay for that. That's me.
Cool. Thanks, Joe. Celeste.
I popped along to the Milton substation opening this morning, which is actually really interesting. It was very interesting because it gives us a backup system basically if things were to go wrong in terms of like quakes and things. So it's quite a significant, I think. I think it's taken about 5 years to get to that point. And they also had some really incredible sort of cultural interpretation panels on the building as well. So it's worth checking it out if you get a chance. But I think, just being aware that the building and that redundancy in the system, having learned from, past events that we kind of need a backup option if one system goes down and put another one, which I thought was really interesting. So
next phase is going to be a lot more disruptive. It's cables going from there out through Hoon Hay.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah, out I think to Hallswell or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other quick thing is probably don't need to update people around this road, but I think people is all aware and that's really exciting. But we don't know actually how much money is coming through here. So hopefully we'll find out. I think it's 17th is the date we're supposed to get more information.
TA confirmed on news talks the politics Friday, the minister said it could be up to another 40 next year.
Yeah,
On the record.
I've heard a few, oh really? Okay, I've heard a few rumours, but it's hard to know just yet, but hopefully we get more, because the initial 13 million obviously is not going to cut it, so.
Can you send some comment that it's only approached that all the other stuff isn't being done either?
No, all I know is that on News Talk TV Politics Fridays, Minister Ducey said something which I'm not sure was announced, but was on the record and was on the air.
I did.
So have a listen to that.
Yeah, and then of course the water station's open, so we've had some feedback on that and it's been passed through, so if you have any feedback on things that could be improved, let us know, because they will be reviewing it in a couple of months, and then they're potentially going to roll them out in other parts of the city.
Cool. Anyone else?
Oh, yeah.
Kelly and then
Yanni. Last week, councillors went to visit the Rada Foundation, which those of you who don't know, it was renamed after being the, what do they call it, the Canterbury Community Trust, which was sort of a community bank that ended up with $300 million. It was absolutely fascinating the way they run their operation, but they managed to increase substantially that amount of money. They look after their expenses, and then they work out what inflation is, and then everything above that that they earn from their investments they put back into the community. It's usually about $21 million a year. They're continuing to grow that initial 300 million that they've got. They've had fantastic returns on it over the years, and it was absolutely fascinating. Hearing them all go through it. So it's really interesting to see that they should be serving the population of Canterbury for many years to come. We only get 75% of the proceeds because it also covers Marlborough, top of the south, and I think it's other parts of it. I can't remember the details, but there you go. Interesting.
Thanks, Kelly. Yanni?
Thank you. I attended the Eco Action planting at QE2, and it's really amazing what they're doing out there, but we didn't really have time to go into in terms of the questions, but I do wonder if there's anything else we can be doing to support their work. So I don't know if there's a way that we can check in. I mean, I'm sure our staff do what we can, but it is really cool. I just wondered, like, we have a number of reserve management plans or master plans, and I just wondered, is the board going to get updated? I'd be really keen to get an update on the Bexley Reserve Plan and the progress around the different elements in that, noting, of course, that in the LTP, that budget got deferred, or maybe cut. And also that we have that outstanding issue in the dog park at Bexley as well with the grass. Apparently that was going to be resown because it's really bad. But I just wanted, I guess just to share that, obviously with the Bexley Reserve, it would be good to have some visibility of what's happening there. So I don't know.
Well, that would just be in the notes of the agenda.
So we can't request actions and or additional works from this part of the meeting.
But you can write down Bexley Reserve.
Okay, well, I can share that I was advised
Bexley Reserve
that,
management plan in the minute.
and I can advise that I was told that I didn't need a formal resolution through the long-term plan, and I didn't need additional budget to change the grass in the dog park, that it would be part of the program budget and it would be done. So that was the advice that I had.
And so is that still about going to heaven, or?
Well, I can just follow up separately, but so we're not allowed to ask for things as part of the exchange anymore, so just getting used to that. So we can only share stuff. I just wanted to share that I was really disappointed with the lack of notification to the elected members over the decision to require the flowers being removed from Ainsworth Road. I have in the past actually tried to get more colourful plantings put into our road corridor through places like Woolston and Linwood, and being told that it's not something that we would do because of budget. Here's a guy that did it really cost effectively for us, and the community really liked it and added some colour, and the council staff have told them to take it out. I do hope that we can maybe look at what we can do going forward around something like getting more colourful plantings in our communities, particularly in some of the areas where we don't have it. So, but just to let the community would know that the previous community board had, this is an issue that had been raised to get more colour into our roads. So, assets. Thank you.
Just on there.
Just on there.
Yes, just following on from me, I said, that was happening at the Bridge Street roundabout. There were some people planting colourful flowers in the middle of the roundabout, and they got told to stop doing it because they had to go and water it all the time. And yeah, it's quite unfortunate.
All right, Alex and then Jackie.
Yeah, more of a really quick and delightful update for the board. I popped in a different capacity to Actors today, and I got to see the car park that was funded for out of the Better Off funding, and it looks amazing, and they're all really thankful to the board, and I think they're going to reach out in their own way fairly shortly. It's not to step on Councillor Barber's toes. It was a different capacity, but it looks wonderful, so I just wanted to pass it on to you and the other board members and the rest of the board.
Yeah, they do feel very better off because of it. So
You step on my toes as well. No, you're on the board. You're welcome.
Just quickly on, back onto the Exodus Road flowers. Brett Burns, who's the EGM councillor, lives across the road and down Exodus Road a little bit. He's dug up his grass veg on Exodus Road and planted it in wildflowers. So I don't know how council staff view it when you dig up your grass veg and put it into flowers or vegetables, but that's what he's done. So I shared that.
Are you verging on saying something about that?
Oh, yeah, I was just gonna say, I had a meeting with staff because a group, doing some, doing some, I don't know if you call it guerrilla planting, but doing some plantings, and they said the best thing you can do is actually just give staff a heads up, because they can tell you the location of the underground services, so the last thing you want is people digging up the bins and potentially hitting themselves.
Yeah.
So if anyone's gonna do it, they suggest that you at least let them in, and it's more less likely to get dug back up again.
Yeah, I don't have grass veg, I just.
And it's wonderful that people, want to plant in spaces like that. I mean, we certainly don't want anybody getting hit, down the centre of the road trying to plant a few plants while cars are coming. So I'll be reluctant to encourage people to.
He actually does it at night, like in the middle of the night, he'll go out and weed that section on Exmouth Road.
Wearing black.
So no one notices.
Wearing black.
Oh, probably, he doesn't do it in peak traffic, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, it's one of those things where somebody's, that aware of the risks and that kind of thing, and wanting.
You can do anything, I think you're from council.
Yeah, that's right. Wanting to add a bit of colour, then I'm sort of, just seems like, I mean, the way that that the council's dealing with planted boxes and stuff like that seems like
Sound colour gets the venue.
Seems like a constructive approach. Anyway, that concludes members' information exchange. If you'd like to join us, Mikala kia whakamutura. Kia tau, te rangi mārie, o te rangi e tū i kōnei, o papatua nuku te tapu tōnei, o te taio e awhinei, ki ronga i a tātou, tihei mauri ora.